Welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me today is Vasyl Shevchenko, former Minister of Transportation, Ukraine. Vasyl, it's a pleasure to always have you on the show.
Nice to see you, dear friend.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Sure, you're more than welcome. So today basically marked the 100th day of this war between Russia and Ukraine. And I am quite sure that Putin is very disappointed at his results up to this moment. Tell me some of the progress that you all would have made since this war started.
I can say exactly that now they have occupied 20% Ukraine territory. But this war started isn't 100 days ago, but it started in 2014 when Russia's backed separatists decided to fight against Ukraine army and created so-called republics. And real war, when we can say that all world could see this start this war against Ukraine at the end of February, and now is 101st day Ukraine fighting against Russia's invader. And I can say that during this time they captured more than 3,500 Ukrainian cities and villages. And now we can say that more than 1,000 cities were liberated by the Ukrainian forces. And after really heavy offensive operations, Russia troops from the east, they were shelling Ukrainian positions really heavy. And the same time, Ukrainian forces liberated more than 20 Ukrainian cities and villages at the south of Ukraine. It means that Ukrainian army fighting against Russian Federation really serious, and we have achieved good results, but now we understand that they are using long-range system which doesn't allow Ukrainian forces eliminate them, to recognize and to eliminate them. But because Ukraine doesn't have a long-range system and doesn't have new technologies, new sophisticated aircrafts, fighters, bomber, storm aircrafts. Ukraine is fighting at Soviet aircrafts which were repaired at Ukrainian plants. And now I can say that Ukrainian forces have eliminated more than 31,000 Russia's soldiers and damaged a lot of Russia's armed vehicle and a lot of tanks. Now Ukraine has eliminated more than 1,000 Russia's tanks and a lot Russia's armed carriers. It's really cruel situation, and Ukrainian forces have losses too. According to the President information. President of Ukraine. Ukraine lost every day from 16 to 100 soldiers, and about 500 soldiers are wounded every day. And because of it, we understand that this war. This war is really, really cruel against the Ukrainians, because we are defending our territory, we are defending our houses, and we are defending our motherlands. And at the same time, I'd say that Russia Federation blocked Ukrainian ports, and now I can say exactly that Ukraine cannot provide poor countries corns, and cannot provide natural oil. Ukraine is biggest supplier of this products at the world market. And because of it, there are a lot of negotiations with the Russia Federation, but they don't want to hear that results of their blockade is threat of Hungary, and maybe famine in poor countries who depends on supplies products from Ukraine. And now Ukraine is looking for new routes for transporting this cargo, this corns, oil. And we are in cooperation with our European partners, and we are looking for new routes through Black Sea, I mean Romania and Bulgaria. And it's too difficult to rebuild these routes really fast. And because of it, we understand that Russian Federation created this problem for old war, and they tried to blame countries who postponed for them sanctions, that its country is guilty in threat of this Hungary in African countries, for example, and countries in the Pacific Asian region who depends on supplying from Ukraine. And because of it, it's a threat for all the developed world, and it isn't only Ukraine. And because of it, Ukraine asks our partners and member of the NATO to give Ukraine a long-range system which allow us to eliminate Russia's artillery point who are shelling Ukrainian cities. They are not fighting with Ukrainian army. They are fully eliminating all cities. You can see it according to the picture you could see from the Bucha, Hostomel, and other liberated by Ukrainian army cities. And I can say that it's a really important thing for Ukraine, and I'd say that Ukraine now depends on threat from the air, because Russia Federation is still shelling Ukrainian city from long-range air-land type missiles.
Yes.
They're using artillery against peaceful Ukrainians, and they are killing every day civilians. It isn't war with Ukrainian army. It's attempt to eliminate Ukrainians. It's genocide against Ukrainians, and all people around the world understand it and
Right.
try to speak in and try to help us. We are really thankful every country and every person who help us and who understand us.
Right.
Because
One,
we are defending our land and we doing our best to defend our motherland.
one of the questions I want to ask you, the United President had provided Ukraine with some very impactful resources with long-range capability. How effective is this strategy at this time, crippling the Putin's military from gaining any more success, or any success rather?
I'd like to repeat my opinion concerning action of United Nations, and I can say that it's really a big point to try to discuss from this point because its attempt haven't achieved any results, and I wanted to tell you that when head of United Nations asks Russia to mine Black Sea, Ukrainian Black Sea ports, and he asked it can do Ukraine, and it's looks like something wrong, because Ukraine didn't mine this port and didn't make blockade this port. We are interested in holding routes which allow Ukraine to provide all poor country around the world Ukrainians corn and Ukrainians products. And I wanted to say that only for last month's prices for products has risen for more than 22%, and this threat can lead to bad results and famine in any countries. Because of it, in the United Nations framework is necessary to start listening this question, and maybe to form special troops which allow to provide shipping Ukrainian goods for world market. Because if we manage to transport it through Poland to Poland's port, it will be these products will be expensive, and for it will pay customers of poor countries. And I can say that this threat now threat for all over the world countries, because we can understand that this false blockage will don't have any reason, and it's threat for humans. And I'd say that Ukraine is looking for a way to solve these questions in cooperation with United Nations and with NATO countries, and with all countries who supported us and who's interested in cooperation with Ukraine to establish new relation or maybe new routes to provide poor countries these products, and to provide Ukraine budget money, which will allow us to have more ammunitions, to have more powerful weapon, and to stabilize the budget, which now is under Russia's threat, and now is budget domestic value product is going down. We have lost more than 30%, and I think it will go, and we would like to stabilize it and to have opportunity to defend our country.
At this point, what percentage of Ukraine's territory you believe to be totally destroyed?
Yes, it's true, and now there are a lot of calculations which shows that it's hundreds billion damage for Ukraine economy and Ukraine territory infrastructure, and we cannot say exactly how they will eliminate more Ukrainian infrastructure, because as you know, they decided at first to eliminate Ukraine military runways and civilian airports runways. And they were trying to capture Ukrainian airports to storm Kiev capital, and now I can say that there are a lot of infrastructure points have been destroyed, and their shelling every day are still destroying Ukraine territory. And I don't know how it will reflect it Ukrainians at Ukrainian budget, because we cannot make calculations about this rate. But now I heard information that it's 100 billion damage. Yes.
Russia seems to be losing this war. It's no doubt. To what extent you think they would go in destroying Ukraine? Would they ever come to a halt to recognize that they're losing the war? Would Putin acknowledge this, or will he just continue to shell and to destroy Ukraine?
I think that here is only one point that they wants to threaten Ukrainians, and they commit genocide against Ukrainian, and they have committed cruelties at the occupied territory, and they want to humiliate Ukrainians, and they want to kill children and women and aged peoples, and we understand that they are fighting not with Ukrainian armies, they are fighting with Ukrainians. They wanted to make big big threat to allow to capture more and more Ukraine territory. But I can say that it's only strengthen Ukrainian forces, and we understand that our allies will help us with weapon we discussed to have opportunity to defend our country and push them out from our territory. And it's our goal, and all Ukrainians are fighting and working every day, to achieve this goal. And I understand that maybe we'll lose more people life, but we are still fighting, and we are together, and we are fighting for peace in European territory.
This may be a tough question at this juncture. How do you think the Ukrainians who are still residing there, what do you think their mental status is like right now? Are they still cohesively together, believe that they're going to come out victorious, or are they falling apart?
I can say that Russia's invaders captured a lot of territory, and they were in the Kiev's streets, but they were driven out from this territory, and they are still fighting against us only at the south and east part. And I think that if we have opportunity and enough instrument to push them out, we will do it. And I'm sure that we believe in it, and we will do all we can, and hope for our friends to help us with really necessary weapon for Ukraine, including aircraft new generations, because you understand that against Ukraine, Russia use last generation's aircrafts, and the Ukraine army are defending our territory with aircrafts which has more than 50 years age. And but at the same time, air defense forces are fighting and have shooten down more than 200 Russia's aircraft. And it means that our pilots are really higher competitive and higher professional to defend our land. And if they have sophisticated aircrafts, it would allow us to push them out faster than we have plans.
Okay. One of Russia's warships obviously were taken up by Ukraine's military. Was there a second one?
Ukraine forces managed to shoot down Russia's cruiser and a lot of other Russia's warships who were trying to make offensive operations at Ukrainian territory, and in this case was used Ukraine territory. Ukraine built new sophisticated missiles, Neptune, but we don't have enough this type of missiles. And now we here that we will be provided from our allies new missiles which allow us to defend our borders in seaports. And it's really important because it would allow us to defend south of Ukraine from Russia's invaders.
So in conclusion, we are down to the final 2 minutes. Would you say that Ukraine's global support or allies still remain firm and there's no wavering? So with this at Ukraine's side, they shall come out victorious in the end?
I know that we have support from around the world, and we understand and we feel the support every day, and we really thankful every person who help us and who tell about us good words, and it means that all together we will win this battle. We cannot lose autocracy because it's threat for developed world, and it's threat for all world. And I know that now with Ukraine, and they are trying to capture Ukraine, but we don't know what will tomorrow, and because of it, we must stop them here. We must punish them for this unprecedented action since Second World War. And this type of invasion, this type of cruelty, world haven't faced since